So, Noir, it's been a while, man. How you doing?
Doing all right. Little disappointed that it's taken us this long to get back into doing an episode. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, but you can definitely expect them a little more frequently this month, and I promise you that. Matter of fact, proof is in the pudding. You can look at the Patreon, and see all the episodes we already have cooked up for you guys. But today, guys, welcome to the Datascape. My name is Prodigy. This is your co-host, Noir Little Bomber. I already spoofed up the intro, but it is spooky month. It's October. This month, the theme is going to be the villains of Kingdom Hearts. And who better to start off with than the man, the master, not the master of masters, we'll get to him eventually, but Master Xehanort, the villain of the Kingdom Hearts franchise for like 20 years, bro. Like, I feel like it's not. I don't know how common it is for like a series to just have one villain for that long. I mean, you can get to technicalities like with Ansem and Xemnas, and we didn't know of him as Xehanort till like Kingdom Hearts 2, I believe. I forget if he was referred to in the secret reports as Xehanort in KH1 or not. But still, Xehanort, like the amalgamation of Ansem, Xemnas, Young Xehanort, I guess these org members too at this point, like he's been the villain or was the villain for Kingdom Hearts for 20 years, bro. The entire Dark Secret saga. It's kind of insane. So me and Noir, what inspired this is we got into a little debate on a stream of mine the other day. Not a Datascape stream, but just a casual, fun, chill talking late night live. We got into a talk about theories. And we started talking about a plot point in Kingdom Hearts Dark Road that was shown off to us at the very end, where they talked about the child of destiny. The old man, the player character, us, kind of loosely, refers to Xehanort, not directly, but he's telling Xehanort the story of the Child of Destiny, and the player character thinks it is him. Not 100% confirmed, but like very much so pushing that. And for me, for the longest, for these past 3 years since I saw that ending, I always interpreted it as kind of like they're doing the Star Wars. They're doing the Anakin thing. The same way Anakin is the chosen one. We're not going to talk about the sequel trilogy. The same way Anakin is the chosen one, is the same way Xehanort kind of would be. He's that guy that would give light that extra push to be what it needs to be. He's the villain that made light go beyond, what it was. For Sora to go beyond what he was. And I personally like the idea of that, but let's talk a little bit about that, because I know Noir has a little bit of a differing opinion.
Yeah. So when it came to Xehanort being the child of destiny, I always interpret it because the person that said he could be was the player character who truly wouldn't know all the details that he would need to know from the Book of Prophecies. I never viewed his basically diagnosis of Xehanort as the Child of Prophecy as an accurate or reliable one, just because again it's coming from someone that isn't knowledgeable like the Master or even Lucio. Because you look at someone like Lucio, he never once stated that Xehanort was the Child of Destiny. He never once hinted at that, and neither has the Master. And both of them had met Xehanort long before he died. They both had their chances to meet Xehanort. Lucio knew him while disguising himself as Bragi, which, first of all, kudos to the Kingdom Hearts community for basically calling that out long before they revealed that.
It was
Kudos to
too
you guys.
obvious, man. It was
It,
too
it was
obvious.
it was pretty obvious, but it was like one of those things where it's so obvious that like there's no way that this is the case.
That's exactly what I
But
was thinking.
right, but either way, along with that, the Master also met Xehanort during his time in Keyblade training. And you would think that the master would have said something if he ran into what is essentially like a cornerstone for his fight against the darkness, right?
Right.
If this child of destiny is supposed to be this great savior of light who's meant to connect with people and thwart darkness, you would think he would be able to notice it when he first came across it. And I do plan on making a theory video about this and the things about the child of destiny and all that things because I do have someone in mind for who is the child of destiny. I won't get into it here, but I don't believe that it is Xehanort. I do believe that Xehanort was prophesied for something in the Book of Prophecies. He was prophesied as a scapegoat, because the scapegoat would be one of the necessary people for the child of destiny, just because the scapegoat was a term that was mentioned by Lushu in the Kingdom Hearts 3 Secret Reports. So I had always thought of Xehanort as the scapegoat, right? Basically a sacrifice
Yeah, and his
to make
name,
sure.
his I forget the word for it. Is it like anagram? Like when you put the X in, I forget the word for it. But he
Anagram, yeah.
yeah, anagram. Um it's another. So, that also, like, well, if he's the child of destiny, but his anagram, which is like kind of a thing in the Kingdom Hearts series, the organization members, most of them, it's all just their real names jumbled up with an X thrown in there. For Xehanort, his even though his name is Xehanort, if you do the same thing with Xehanort, it just translates to another, meaning for
Or
us
no heart.
another vessel, like later down the line, as we like interpreted, right? Or would it be another vessel or another like? We don't have an official like
I don't think there's an
interpretation.
official thing, but Xehanort's name could be, if you take out the X and rearrange the letters, it can be either No Heart, which happens to
Yeah,
be the name of his Keyblade armor, or another, um, which obviously Xehanort was a name that Nomura has been using since 2005. But and that's something else about Xehanort that I really just I like about him, right? Because you don't really understand who Xehanort is as a person until 5 years after you first hear his name, right?
yeah. The
Because
mystery, like he was a big core of the mystery of Kingdom Hearts for a long time. Like, because I remember as a kid going through like the Ansem reports and like learning about the Ansem reports, going through Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, finding out that the Ansem, the big villain we fought that felt so climactic the whole game, talking about this Ansem guy, to find out bro's just the heartless of another dude is like what? And then you see Zemnis, and you hear the history about Xehanort as an apprentice. The mystique and lore of Xehanort was so interesting in that like early Kingdom Hearts era. Like I'd say basically from one all the way up to Birth by Sleep. Like Xehanort's story there is just is so good. And not to say anything after isn't as good, because like I love young Xehanort is debatably a lot of people's like second favorite, some people's favorite version of the character. And then in Kingdom Hearts 3, even though some people feel a little like we agree that he should have gone a little more like in Kingdom Hearts 3, but for what we did get in that ending cutscene, I actually thought it aligned with pretty much everything he had said the whole time. You saw how his opinions evolved, how his plans got averted. Originally, he wanted balance, but then after like Birth by Sleep, he realized like, you know what, clean slate. Let's he
Scorched Earth.
pinpointed himself to be the darkness that would basically save the light. That's what he wanted to be, and that's why I think him being the child of destiny is like so good, because it's like it's this twist on a story. It's this interpretation that can be similar to something like Anakin in Star Wars, but even with like Anakin in Star Wars, like he didn't purposely, he didn't purposely like become Darth Vader, as in like he wanted to be like on the dark side of the Force. He got manipulated and like kind of groomed into that by Emperor Palpatine. As with Xehanort, you could make the argument that maybe he did get groomed by the Master of Master to like be that dark vessel, but he was definitely already on that dark road well before the Master. The Master just gave him that little nudge in that one little cutscene. But Xehanort, even with all of that, he sussed the Master out. That's a whole thing we can like get into talking about the Master and that dynamic in a little
Well,
bit.
that's something about Xehanort's character that honestly is not really talked too much about, even though it's like one of the biggest aspects of his character. The man is easily like disregarding the master, right? Not including him, obviously. He is the most intelligent character in the entire series.
I
Right.
wouldn't be surprised if by the time the series ends if he is seen to be as intelligent as the Master. Because like think about it from the Master's perspective. Now we don't know what the Master started off as. We've gotten it's been alluded to that the Master might not be human, low key. Cause okay, remember like that one cutscene in Cross where Luciu asked him like, "Did you have a master, or something like that?" And he was basically in that whole cutscene. He basically said like, "Yeah, I did have like a childhood and this and that, but like I was the only person that mattered." Basically straight up saying like, "Yeah, I'm the only person that mattered there." Now there's two
Yeah,
ways to interpret.
his past is so like
Yeah,
vague that like you we can't even attempt to put the pieces together or like draw any conclusions from that.
but there's
But
like two things that I think you can interpret from that one scene. Either one, it could have just been Nomura telling us because he knows how big of a theorist we are. He knows he's very aware of how like obsessed the community is with the story.
he likes to
So
mess with us.
he might have said that to be like, hey, don't theorize about the master's master or cousins or this and that. Don't do all that. That he's the only person that matters. That might have been a Nomura inserted line, or two, the master maybe the master is some sort of like omnipotent like being in Kingdom Hearts, like would really be one of our first ones truly for the franchise. And he is like in that role, some sort of like god or something like that. So from his power, while he technically has more knowledge, like Xehanort being as smart as he is from where he came from, where he Xehanort kind of like he grew up on Destiny Islands, and then he got taken to Scarlet Kylam, and then kind of from the ground up, like was just talented and knowledgeable and smart, solved these like situations in Dark Road fairly quickly, like even above Ericus, and it's like I don't know, I feel like Xehanort is like he's very like I would put him on par with the Master by the end of the series. Like maybe I wouldn't be surprised if we're thinking that. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Xehanort somehow outplayed the Master in the long game because that's what he's good at, playing the long game.
So and so something about the Master and Xehanort and the whole Anakin thing that I really wanted to call attention to, because I've talked to you about this before, John. Because if you're not familiar with Star Wars, the prophecy surrounding Anakin was that Anakin would be this great chosen one from the Force that would basically destroy the Sith,
Yep.
right? And so he was born with like this absurd amount of Force, like way more than what most people would sense in a child. So obviously that's why they brought him on board to be a Jedi, even though he was older than what most people would be when they first joined like the Jedi program.
Yeah, the
And
Minotaurians.
and even though he had switched over to the dark side, he still fulfilled the prophecy by getting rid of Palpatine, because the whole thing was he would be the one to destroy Palpatine and destroy the Sith. And so even though he became Darth Vader, he still fulfilled that prophecy. There were some missteps along the way with killing the Jedi, right? But the whole idea was to kill the Sith to bring balance to the Force, and he still ended up doing that. Um, but with Xehanort being the child of destiny, he hasn't fulfilled the role that's expected of the child of destiny before his death. So it's not, in my opinion, it's not the same thing. And that's why, like, I don't draw the comparisons between the two.
That's totally fair.
But another thing about Master Xehanort in is that his overall, like, because like I said, his name was first ever dropped in Kingdom Hearts 2, right? He was referenced as a person in Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories, and by Kingdom Hearts 2, you get some idea of who he was, but if you read the secret reports, you would still know that there's a whole lot more to Xehanort that no one really knows or talks about, right? Because they talk about in Kingdom Hearts 2 how Ansem had found Xehanort just without his memories, didn't know anything, and as it turns out, you find this out in Kingdom Hearts 2 that all of Ansem's reports that you find in Kingdom Hearts 1, only the first one was written by Ansem. The rest were written by Xehanort impersonating him. I like that bit, right? Because it shows that like this is a dude that knows what he's doing and will manipulate things behind the things or behind the scenes, and like he's just way too smart for his own good.
I like that
So
Xehanort manipulates people. That's crazy.
Xehanort manipulates people on a daily basis.
Oh man,
Um,
definitely master
right.
manipulator. That's for sure.
And so obviously by the time we get to Birth by Sleep and now Xehanort has to take that front stage as an antagonist, he lives up to that hype, right? Because he like you can and that's the thing that a lot of people would like dog on Terra for in Birth by Sleep because they're like, oh, how can you not see he's the bad guy? You're letting him manipulate you. But even Ericus didn't catch on that Xehanort was up to no good,
More like
right?
Ericus has so much faith in the light that he like doesn't, because he formed a bond with Xehanort. You saw
He
throughout
was
Dark
far
Road they were
too
best friends, like
trusting.
Sora and Riku type best friends.
He was far too trusting of Xehanort to not warn Aqua and Terra about like how bad of a person he could be. So therefore, Terra would naturally look to him as a figure of authority and a figure worthy of respect, right? And someone he should listen to. So it makes total sense, right? And I think it's the fact that we already know the name Xehanort. We already know Xehanort's a bad person. We have all seen by that point the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts 2, which basically shows them fighting Xehanort, which does put to rest like, oh no, Xehanort is a bad guy, and he is the antagonist of Birth by Sleep. So they made sure that we know that he's a bad person. So we get to see how good he is at manipulating people. We can see how good he is at twisting things and pulling strings to where everyone goes where they need to go, right? Where he wants them to go,
Yep.
right? Because like any like opinions aside, everything from Birth by Sleep onwards was due to him. Everyone knows that, right? His very careful planning, his backup for backup plans, which why would someone need to think that far ahead logically, but whatever. Um, he was like I said, he's just too smart for his own good. So, and that was something that I really liked when Xehanort took the center stage in Dream Drop Distance, right? Because
Dream Something
the
was
whole
so
point,
good. It was
the
so
whole
good.
point of Dream Drop Distance was Yen Sid thinking, okay, we know Xehanort's going to come back, right? So we need to make sure that we are as ready as we can be. So we're going to go ahead and do this thing so that we can possibly get it a couple steps ahead of him. But as it turns out, not only did he anticipate that we would go down that route with the sleeping worlds, he made trap doors in the sleeping worlds just to catch one of ours for his own plan.
Yeah. I
That is a ridiculous level of planning.
I think one of the I'm so glad you like bring that up because for me, one of the biggest moments that sold Xehanort for me, and while I do think his story's a little tainted a little like right now, and it's only because of Dark Road. I do think he should have got more screen time in Kingdom Hearts 3, but I can look past that a little bit because I understand I feel like there's probably like time constraints, probably voice actor stuff more than likely because Leonard Nimoy would pass like a couple of years before Kingdom Hearts 3 would come out, and that was a big deal for like all of his roles really. Um, but I feel like Xehanort's story was so good, and what sold him for me as a villain was Dream Drop Distance. Surprisingly, probably one of the more divisive Kingdom Hearts games in terms of story, but it's one of my most beloved because that was a moment that scene when like Zigbar's like I'm already half Xehanort, and you the way all these tiny things from every single game you go one of the most beautiful cutscenes in Kingdom Hearts to me. And I remember playing this on the 3DS, like at night in my bed, dude, just like going crazy, making freaking YouTuber reaction faces, just like at every scene, every moment Xehanort would take us to through the story. Like he's taking us through the timeline of Kingdom Hearts from Destiny Islands to Traverse Town, like Kingdom Hearts 2. Like it's insane. And then all the way to this moment, and then the sigil on the chest. It's like you said, he planned for literally everything to bring Sora to this moment right now, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Like I remember making theories back in the day about Sora being the 13th vessel. Is he still the 13th vessel in Kingdom Hearts 3? Is that still the plan they're going with? But they would end up going with like, Roxas, Xion type stuff. But it was crazy. Like I that moment and that ending cutscene, Leonard Nimoy did such a fantastic job, man, as Master Xehanort there. Like that whole ending was the sub to KH3. Like those little fadeaway scenes with Mickey and Xehanort talking, reliving the events from Birth by Sleep, talking about all the other Keyblade masters, and like just it brought every Dream Drop Distance for well, it did bring a lot of questions. It brought a lot of theories. It brought a lot of confusion with time travel and this and that. As a kid, I didn't think it was that confusing. A lot of people back then talked about how time travel messed with the series, ruined the series. Those arguments aren't really as popular nowadays. But like for me, as a kid, I'm not sitting here looking at time travel like thinking, oh, this is bad. Yeah, 13-year-olds me not isn't going, oh man, this writing sucks. I'm like, bro, Xehanort's such a strong villain. He learned how to do time travel to freaking mess with these kids. I'm like, that is such a insane level of like I guess at the time I interpreted it as hatred that like it was just raw to me. Like it sold him as if I'm like we need to destroy this dude. Like we need to beat this guy because the fact that he took the time to not only ruin our lives, but he planned to do it, like premeditated. Like he gotta go. He gotta get beaten. Like Sora has to beat the crap out of this dude.
There's another aspect
I love
about the
that.
whole dreamed up distance planning thing that I just want to call attention to. It's the fact that he didn't know for a fact that Sora and Riku were going to go into the sleeping worlds, but he anticipated there was a real chance that could happen, so he took a steps just in case, right? And because like he said in Kingdom Hearts 3, he plans for every eventuality, right? So he had like, and you look at Kingdom Hearts 3, he had Xemnas kidnap Kairi because he knew that there was a very real chance that once all of the darknesses besides him were defeated, there was a good chance Sora would put his Keyblade down and be like, "All right, well, I don't need to fight you anymore to give you what you want. It's us against you. You're done." Right? But he took Kyrie because he knew he could use her as a bargaining chip, and he knew that by crystallizing her, that would provoke Sora into creating the final key.
And that was the guarantee that he'd go through the lengths of time travel, so he'd win without even winning, like without even being around. And like I Remind Xehanort is so fascinating to me, And like I feel like we don't talk about this enough, and I've brought this up like numerous times, and like a lot of my viewers are like they get it. They're like, yeah, that is kind of strange. Like, why? I feel like right. If I'm now Xehanort's not no normal villain, but I
He's
feel
not.
like if I'm Xehanort and I'm planning, if the original plan is to win against Sora, win against the Guardians, like destroy them, reset the world, summon Kingdom Hearts, yada yada, which I'm sure he intended to do. That was something he wanted to do. That was a option, but he was also like testing them, I guess. But if I see a time traveling Sora literally making a timeline that ruins my plans, I'm like,
Stop him.
I'm over here wondering, like, wait, did I lose? Like, why is he here? Like, I'd be more surprised. But Xehanort looks at him as if he's expecting this. He knows how many heart fragments are left of Kyrie, for example. He knows, like, he knows what's going on. In Melody of Memory, like, even though it's Memory Xehanort has like these clues for Kyrie, and he's saying things that are like so sus that it's like Xehanort knew a lot. Like he knew so much, but he knew even more than he let on. Like, why is he even mentioning the other side? How on earth does he know about the other side? Like, I'm sure that like in the grapevine of Keyblade wielders, some people discovered the other side some way, somehow. But like, I say that, but like Yen Sid and some of these other people, they seemed like confused by it. They didn't understand like what Ansom's over here making these random analogies, like calling it fiction, non-fiction. Over here, we're being what's the word? What's the word for here? I don't know. We're
Reality.
being meta with Kingdom Hearts now, right? And it's like Xehanort knew, like Apprentice Xehanort knew. Apprentice Xehanort's experimenting with this. He sent Kyrie to Sora. Xehanort did. The whole reason Sora even went on this journey, if you want to go that far, the whole reason Sora went on this journey is because of his relationship with Kyrie. The only reason he has a relationship with Kyrie is because Xehanort sent her there. It's like this guy, like the plans he told us about is like it might just be a fraction of the bigger picture, and I think that bigger picture is the master. I think that interaction he had with the Master of Masters, like as a kid, I think the Lost Masters, that infatuation with them, it obviously started there, but like I think it fermented into he did discover more about them. He did learn more about the darknesses and the Book of Pro. He studied all of this and he found something out. Like he found some things that stood out, like things that are like, this is kind of weird. If the darknesses are gone, then why is this Vanitas guy pretending to be Ventus's? Like, who is he? You know, like why'd the master like walk like if he's not really missing, then why is he like over here trying to like what is he doing over here? You know, like and I never saw him again after. Like what? Like he's thinking about all of this, and it's like I don't know. Like I know some people are against Xehanort returning, and they're against him returning not for any lore or story reasons. They're against him returning out of a principle of they want to move on and have a new story with Kingdom Hearts. Is like we started the podcast off with. He's been a villain for 20 years, and I get it, but I feel like this story, there's so many layers that can be peeled back with Apprentice Xehanort, young Xehanort, like that like early 20s age of Xehanort that is so fascinating to lore fanatics like me. Like I would love to see it. I would love to see it. Like I want to.
I and you know what? There's something that you had just mentioned earlier. I'm, I'm forgetting what I was gonna. All right, so I'm so glad actually you brought up Xehanort and Remind, right? Because I brought this up in a video before. But if Xehanort, because Xehanort could tell that the Sora he encountered in Remind was a time traveling Sora. He could tell. He knew, right? And if he knows that means that he knows that Sora is using the power of waking to undo what he did to Kyrie, who is his like last bit of insurance to ensure his final plan. That also means that he knows for a fact that he lost. Now, normally, if the main villain would see the main character do this, he would do one of two things. He would either A, stop him, or two, let him be and let him fail to do what he needs to do. Because realistically, without Sora knowing that there were two more pieces left, he wouldn't have restored Kairi in time and would have just been lost anyway. So then they would have been without both Sora and Kairi. But he went out of his way to help him. He went out of his way to tell him, right, and actively not stop him.
Yeah.
Right. So that is something to take note of, right? Why would Xehanort do that? Why in the world would, because Xehanort doesn't do things unnecessarily, right? Xehanort's the last person to try and do something unnecessarily. So, and like you said, with memory Xehanort, while it is a memory Xehanort, it's still Xehanort nonetheless. So why would Xehanort give Kyrie the clues that she needed to know where Sora was? Why would he do that? Because those are his enemies. He has no reason to help them, like at all. So it's very clear that even after death, there's a whole lot more of what Xehanort knew that we don't know. Right? There's Xehanort's pool of knowledge looks to be limitless. Right? He seemed to have gathered information from all different types of pools of information. Right? And it's funny how like his other selves kind of reflect like parts of him, right? They don't represent all of what he is, but they represent parts of him. So, like for instance, I think Xemnas, who is probably my favorite out of all of the versions of Xehanort, besides arguably Master Xehanort himself, Xemnas is a D1 manipulator, like on the same level as Xehanort. Like Ansem might manipulate things here and there. He will tempt, but no one gaslights and manipulates the same way Xemnas did.
Xemnas definitely was a peak gaslighter and manipulator. Like, homie in the face. Even like when all was lost, like at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, he still was like, every organization member was done, dead, gone. Like they lost, right? And Xehanort's like, ah, oh, my Kingdom Hearts. Go collect more hearts for me. He was still trying to like tell him to do his bidding even in the end.
Right? I mean, what he did to Shion and Roxas alone
Oh yeah.
would give him D1 manipulator
See,
rewards.
you know what's crazy? People get on Xemnas for Shion and Roxas, and yes, he is 100% the villain there, but I feel like Sykes doesn't get enough hate. But that could be used for the organization episode.
Syax is a he was
Sykes was.
yeah, we'll get into him later.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, Sykes was the meanest character ever in Days, bro.
He
He was so mean.
was. He was like when I first played Kingdom Hearts 2 and Sora was literally begging on his knees to be taken to Kyrie. He said, "Huh? So you really do care for her?" In that case, the answer is no. I was like, "This son of a what is wrong with him?"
So okay, um, we could talk about another thing. I mean, I could save this for the end of the episode, but I think it's fun to have it in the middle, a little fun middle segment. So if you had to rank your favorite versions of Xehanort, and we're just going to include like the main villain ones. We're not going to do like weird Seeker of Darkness like type stuff. So like just your favorite versions of Xehanort, like young Xehanort, Ansem, Xemnas, Master Xehanort. What would your
Are
list
are
be?
we including? I know we're including Terra Xehanort, but are we including Apprentice Xehanort?
Um, let's let's just do Terranort.
Okay, all right. So ranking them from like least favorite to favorite, I'd have to go with Terra Xehanort is my least favorite.
Okay.
Um, then honestly, I'd probably go Ansem after that. I like Ansem, but he's second to the bottom. And then there's Young Xehanort, and then I'd say tie for first is Master Xehanort and Xemnas.
Really? Okay. So, what makes Master Xehanort and Xemnas your like tie?
So one thing about me is I love an intelligent character, right? And Master Xehanort easily is the most intelligent character we have seen in the entire series, besides arguably the Master of Masters, right? So Master Xehanort just being this basically omniscient character who has manipulated things so well and he's written so well, right? And the way he drops bombshells is chef's kiss, right? I mean, it's, and I don't know how mad anime fans are going to be about this statement, but he is basically on the same level as someone like Madara from Naruto.
He is stronger than Naruto. Xehanort and Kingdom Hearts characters are way stronger than Naruto
Well, I'm
characters.
not saying strength wise, but I'm saying like
Intelligence wise,
intelligence, hype, right? Written as a villain.
okay, yeah.
So yeah, it's the same regards between Madara and Master Xehanort. But for Xemnas is also up there because Xemnas was a smart character, but he also like knew how to tug at someone's heart, and he knew like what to say to egg someone on a certain way. Right? There were very few instances where Xemnas was not in control. Right? So like say looking at like one of my favorite scenes is when Sora, Mickey, and Riku all point their Keyblades at him when he tells them to go and bring them more hearts, right? Because when he asks questions, he is like, it may not be obvious, but what he's doing is he is trying to guilt them into not wanting to attack him. He is trying to guilt them into making himself look like the victim because he's like, well, why do you hate the darkness so much? And then Mickey clearly is like, well, we don't hate it. It can be scary sometimes, but darkness is needed for the world. We have to accept that. That is an indisputable fact, right? And maybe we have a problem with it because of maybe who's lurking inside of it, maybe who's using it for the wrong reasons, right? Um, and then Xemnas tries to take it further and be like, okay, you might accept the darkness, and you live in light, but then why is it that you are so angry with us who were rejected by both light and darkness? He's trying to make himself look like a victim. He's trying to be like, we were rejected by both. We have nothing. And Riku's like, you messed up our worlds. You're not a victim here. Right? And then Sora basically backs that up. He's like, don't act like you feel guilty about anything that you have done. You have no feelings.
Yeah. So, for mine, I gotta say, before I say this, I love all Xehanorts. My least favorite, guys, I'm so sorry, is Xemnas.
Blasphemy.
I love Xemnas. I love him so much. It's just that Xemnas compared to the other ones, like they have moments I like more. but I do like Xemnas' character a lot, and it has risen up from like I was tempted to put like it'd be between him and Xehanort, but I give Xehanort the edge because I think that ending like scene in Birth by Sleep where he like kind of recites the lines from Kingdom Hearts 1 is like a full circle moment from like the Lingering Will battle that even though I watched it on YouTube at the time because it wasn't out in America, uh it was just crazy. I'm like, bro, that's insane. And like that was another like, oh my gosh, mind blowing like Kingdom Hearts moment for me. Um, Xemnas, on the other hand, the reason he's my least favorite is because while I love Xemnas, I feel like in terms of he's just really cool. He's really cool. That's kind of it though. Like I think he's a really cool character. There is a lot to like the nobodies and that like sort of like psychology there, but I think there's aspects by the other characters I'm a little more interested in. So Xemnas, Xehanort or Xemnas, Xehanort above Xemnas, and then I'm scared to do this. I'm going to go. I'm going to go Master Xehanort for this one. I'm scared to, but I'm going to go Master Xehanort. Or let's say Master Xehanort and Ansem are tied. Ansem is obviously like pure nostalgia. Ansem is like, well, not just pure nostalgia, but like Ansem, really cool character. I think this every cutscene Ansem has is just really interesting, and like Ansem's like the embodiment of like Kingdom Hearts 1's mystery, like come to fruition, and he's like the start of everything. So I was like, I got to give like respect points for being the first villain that like starred this all, you know. And it would lead into like, just so much for the franchise. So many good cutscenes too. So many good cutscenes. I even love the dynamic that Ansem has with Riku for the rest of the franchise. That only really concluded with Kingdom Hearts 3. So there's so many things I can say about Ansem that's cool. He even kind of had a good guy death a little bit too, didn't he? Homie's over here doing poetry. Like I don't
Well,
know.
I do like Ansem's like last speech before he's defeating Kingdom Hearts 3 because as uh someone named Regular Pat pointed out that it's actually a message to the player,
Yeah,
right? He was the first villain, so anyone that's been following the series since it started, right? This is his goodbye, right? And he's been with us for the longest compared to everyone else.
yeah, that's how I felt. That's how I interpreted like the whole. There's much in life to seek, so go forth and seek it. And like he's the seeker of darkness, so it's like a little on the nose, but it's this very. I love that scene. I love it. Like I took my time, like everyone did. I'm sure in their first playthrough here. Like I loved those moments. Like I didn't rush through them. I paused. I tried to sink in as many of those moments as I could because I knew while playing the game that these are like the last moments I'm probably going to have with these characters, at least for a while, right? Uh,
Yeah.
and then, so after Master Xehanort and Ansem are tied because Master Xehanort, I feel like he he just doesn't have enough. Back in the day, he might have even been my least favorite version of Xehanort, and it's not because he's bad. Like, and to be honest, a lot of people probably would have Master Xehanort as their least favorite, just because he doesn't have as much content or scenes as these other characters. Because Master Xehanort's main game really is Birth by Sleep, because he has Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop's ending, and then a little bit of KH3, despite him being the main villain of it. So it's like I feel like Xehanort in Birth by Sleep, Leonard Nimoy, in Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop's ending, very epic, amazing moments. And in terms of like, I guess the aura and like the cadence he has, he would be like up there with like the best of the best. Like I love that from a villain. Like I love a really smart villain. I'm the same as you. But I feel like just other characters have more. They have more to analyze. And I might contradict myself a little bit here. Young Xehanort, uh, Young Xehanort is cool. I'm not going to try to put a super big explanation behind Young Xehanort. Young Xehanort, full of mystery, really cool character. I kind of lump Young Xehanort with Dark Road Young Xehanort, even though Dark Road Xehanort's like younger Young Xehanort. They're still kind of the same. Um, Young Xehanort is just Young Xehanort is really cool, and I kind of feel like if Xehanort was to return, if there's an interest factor in like Xehanort as a character, like that's the Xehanort a lot of people will be fine with seeing again. Old man Xehanort, his story's done. Ansem done. Xemnas done. Young Xehanort, I think a lot of people would still be very interested in seeing.
Let's see. So I think favorite Xehanort scene is, I want to say it's when Master Xehanort finally returns in Dream Drop Distance.
Let's go peak.
Right? That is a peak scene. It is very hard to top something like that. Right? Because he literally came back from the dead and was like, I'm about to spit some bars on these kids.
Yeah. So
Right? And I think another thing that I like about that is like that scene is just a perfect representation of just like how conniving Xehanort is, right? And how little input or control we all truly had over the course of events.
yeah, I actually think I might have the same favorite scene as you. Like I might have that scene with in Dream Drop Distance. That might be my favorite scene with Xehanort. A close second would probably be the Terranort cutscene in Birth by Sleep, as I mentioned earlier. But that definitely is a big one for me. So, what do you think about Xehanort's future in Kingdom Hearts? We might have like alluded to this a little bit in previous episodes, but like just fully deep diving into this because we've kind of bounced around the topic. Like a lot of people in the community, they're a little divided on if they want Xehanort to return. I think the hardcore fans, who are the main ones kind of talking about Kingdom Hearts right now during this drought, I think a lot of them are okay. They've come to terms that they're okay with young Xehanort coming back in a like cameo sort of way or like a guiding role or just no longer as a main villain, not like a super main character. But I think I get the gist that a lot of people do want to be done with Xehanort like fully, and they want to fully commit to Yozora, the Master, the Lost Masters, and embrace this new side of Kingdom Hearts that is going to be really refreshing. But I also feel like with all the points we made, the theories that it feels like if they did want to do more with Xehanort, especially young Xehanort, there is definitely a lot there to cover and a lot of mystery still like to be explored.
With Xehanort in the future, I would say, yeah, I think like a guiding person, right? Not to the whole group, but I think specifically to just Sora, right? If if somehow, some way, Xehanort is able to keep in contact with just Sora and essentially be his guide moving forward, that because this is like an idea that I played with before in the past, right? And I played on this idea in this scenario where Sora was given another opportunity to become a master, and Xehanort would be the one to guide him on that path to being a master.
Yeah, I I feel like that would sir saying have like Zayn or train Sora type stuff like that.
In a way, in a way.
I think that'd be an interesting dynamic, but I don't know how that would like how that would really happen because it'd have to be like some Force Ghost Xehanort unless it's like something in Quadratum. But like, do you think Xehanort's going to show up in Quadratum?
In Quadratum, probably not in Quadratum, like actually. He'll probably show up kind of in spirit at most. I don't think there's really any. Oh, wait, actually. No, no, he could. Because if Quadratum essentially serves as an afterlife for Kingdom Hearts characters, there's a chance he is in Quadratum.
Yeah, I mean it could be a thing. Like I always had the if I wanted to have like this perfect closing story for Xehanort, um, I feel like what will be really interesting, an interesting dynamic is kind of Sora meeting Xehanort in Quadratum, but he's meeting this like more amnesic version of Xehanort, like as in this if this is the other side, if this is like a alternative to like life basically, like for all these NPCs and these other characters, that this is their world. This is all they know. This city, this Japanese city. But for Sora and Strelitzia, it's the afterlife. What if for Xehanort, like as well, it's an afterlife, but what if he's amnesic? And we've even played around with the thoughts of Sora being amnesic. All he remembers is the Keyblade and his muscle memory with that, but he doesn't remember Kairi, Riku, anyone else. What if Xehanort kind of gets to live like the life that he maybe could have? Maybe if he hadn't gone down that dark road, like would that be a story that would be like interesting to see, or would that be like would that be a perspective that viewers would be interested in, or would it be better to just kind of like leave it be? I feel like a lot of people might say like either or. I think it'd be cool, especially after Dark Road, because Dark Road did a lot of humanizing for Xehanort, and we always knew like Xehanort was never this Frieza type villain that was just like evil for the sake of it and evil to just out of pure chaos. Xehanort always had a goal. Xehanort always had a more methodical, like bigger purpose sort of reasoning. He just thought, like Sora said to him, like he thought he had to be the one to stand up and lead, and Sora was like, you don't get to make that choice, and you're not that person. And I feel like it'd be interesting to see Xehanort, a younger Xehanort, kind of just living out their life in Quadratum, whether it be as a cameo or whether it be like in another way. I just think it'd be really cool. Like it might be a little fanficky, it might be a little like wild, but it'd be interesting. I'm open. I'm open to Xehanort coming back. I think back in the day, I was still open, but I was a little more leaning towards like, yeah, let's just go full. Let's fully embrace the foretellers, the lost masters, and stuff. If they have to choose, if they're in time constraints, and if they're in that situation again, definitely go with your new story over like this older one. But it'd be cool to see because Master Xehanort, these other characters, they had a large effect on him. So I don't know. I want to see it. I'm interested.
Yeah, I definitely think there is a good chance Xehanort will come back, and if he does, obviously there will be a lot of people that will be upset because they're like, "Oh, I thought we were done with Xehanort," right? But
If it's young Xehanort, I think they might be like kind of fine with it because young Xehanort kind of left himself open ended compared to Ansem and Zemnis, who had more conclusive deaths that were like, okay, hey, to that kid that played Kingdom Hearts 1, to that child that played, or teenager that played Kingdom Hearts 2, this is my final message to you, like a goodbye, right? Young Xehanorts was like, nah, bro, screw you, get the heck out. I'm
right,
coming back. I'm gonna haunt you.
right, and here's another thing I thought about. It's like Xehanort could come back to help awaken or guide Sora to wielding the Keyblade
That's one
because
aspect
he
that people
he
talk about.
did he did hand it to Sora at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, right? So if anyone is currently wielding it, it's him.
But
But that's a whole can of worms.
yeah, like would that be him? Would that be him? Like, because it's still up in the air whether that was an actual bequeathing or not. And y'all, I don't know. Y'all have heard me rant on live stream before about how I feel about the whole bequeathing thing and Keyblade Ceremony. I do think it's one of the weaker lore details of Kingdom Hearts because it's just. I don't know. It makes it make more sense for why there's so many Keyblade wielders, but it also makes it like, how to describe it? Like I like the idea of you don't need to have a pure heart, but having a strong heart to wield it, like mattering more. And I think that still does matter with the Keyblade Ceremony, but I just kind of feel like it muddies it just a little bit because it opens up a can of worms. We're like, oh well, if you hold anyone's Keyblade, then maybe you're a Keyblade wielder type thing. If a Keyblade wielder hands you their Keyblade, I think if they add a little more to it and make it be like, okay, this is a intentional thing, like you're touching their light, like in a similar way to like in Kingdom Hearts 1, in that one scene where Sora first gets his Keyblade. In the Ultimania, Nomura basically says that that's like Riku's light that Sora's like grabbing. Like that's the Keyblade's there. Like Riku was supposed to get that Keyblade, but like Sora essentially, like, because Riku's fallen to darkness when they're holding out hands, that's Sora basically snatching like that light there accidentally. He touched that light and he got the Keyblade. If you remember
Well,
that, like,
they
flash.
already kind of explained or gone over details on bequeathing already.
Not to a large extent. We only really hear
Not to
about
a
it.
large extent, but basically you have to be at the level of a master in order to even bequeath to someone.
Yeah.
So Xehanort is already at the level of a master.
Well, wait,
So
no,
he is
because Terran. Okay, level of a master though. That
Terra
that
is at the level of a
That,
master.
that, 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 that that's like the semantics I'm talking about. Level of a master. He's not actually a master. He has so many
No, but
things.
they did specify if you're at a master's level. Like Terra
That's
is
so
at a
vague
master's
though.
level.
It's just so vague, you know.
It is kind of vague, right? But basically, if someone is seen as a candidate to take the Mark of Master exam, they should be considered at the level of a master, right? That's
I,
conjecture.
I
I
don't know. I
know,
think it's a little too
but
vague, but that's my take on it.
even then, bequeathing is a little different, right? Because bequeathing is I'm passing the ability to wield a keyblade to you. I'm not giving you a keyblade. I'm giving you the ability to wield one, and eventually a keyblade will come to you, right? That's bequeathing. What Xehanort did was just
Gave him to
choose
him.
Sora as basically his successor.
Successor.
Sora succeeds him in wielding the keyblade.
I I suppose that's an interpretation. Yeah. So, do you think Kingdom Hearts Dark Road will eventually like get a remaster, get a remake?
I think the whole key stuff, all the stuff that was made on Key Browser, Union Cross, Dark Road, I think all that will get remade,
All of it? Okay.
all of it, because there's no actual way to easily digest or consume the story of like all of that. And going into this next saga, it is crucial that you know what happened.
You're absolutely right. Well,
And you know what? That might be the other direction with the series that Nomura and them briefly talked about before basically going radio silent on Kingdom Hearts.
I want to ask one final question before we end off, and it's a little bit of a more fun one. What is your favorite Xehanort boss fight in the series?
Ooh. Um,
Could be a data fight, could be a main final boss, could be whatever.
so it is either Final Xemnas in Kingdom Hearts 2, because honestly, that laser dome attack and Sora and Riku blocking that like simultaneously, it's very hard to top that. Um, or replica Master Xehanort in Remind,
Replica
because
Master Xehanort.
you got Sora and Kyrie kicking ass together.
Yeah, that fight was really gore. That visually might be one of the best fights in the
The
series.
meteor attack was amazing.
Yep. So, I okay. Lore wise, maybe that one too. But Data Master Xehanort KH3, I love that Master Xehanort. I haven't fought him in a long time. I want to refight him on stream again soon. But that fight, absolutely amazing. Well, with that, is there any like final thoughts you have about like Xehanort as like a villain or like where is he at for you? Like now that his story is, let's act like his story is like mostly over because it is. Uh, what where's he at for you as a villain in the franchise period? Like
Like where's Xehanort?
no, more like where does he sit at for you opinion wise? Like love him, like him. I know you don't
I
hate him.
I I like him. I still like him.
Like is he still one of your favorite villains?
Yeah.
Yeah, same for me too. Well, with that, thank you guys so much for watching today's Datascape episode. We're going to try to have the theme of October be Kingdom Hearts villains. So if you guys have any episode suggestions, even as well, we're going to be. Oh, hold up. I'm going to redo that. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's Datascape episode. I really appreciate you guys. This month's theme is going to be on the villains of Kingdom Hearts. So next episode, we're probably going to try to talk about the organization or Secrets of Darkness in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, with that being said, this was a really fun episode. I love talking about Xehanort. One of my favorite villains, despite like some semantics and thing. Oh man, his ending is a little bit like scuffed because of the mobile game and lack of stuff in KH3. But like I love him as a villain overall. Still, like he still made a big impact on me, or on my like enjoyment of the Kingdom Hearts franchise. But yeah, with that being said, any final things you gotta say, Noir?
No, 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 not really.
Well, with that, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Proj. Remember to be nice, be safe, and take care, everyone.